Hi, everybody. This is Mimi from Be Heard, Empower Yourself. And I have a very special guest today. And this is November, and we have Thanksgiving next week already. And Thanksgiving is about gratitude. And this woman, Miss Nellie, say hi to everybody.
Hello.
She is a friend of mine, and she has quite the story to tell about being hopeless and thinking there was no solution and coming into a situation that led her to the life that she always wanted. So, with that, Miss Nellie, oh, and Miss Nellie, you are originally from a town near Chicago, right? Elgin?
Yes,
Elgin.
Elton.
I remembered. And how far away is that from Chicago?
Um, about an hour.
An hour. Okay. But you had a journey that I think is amazing. Would you like to share a little bit about that? How it was and what happened and how it is now?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I started drinking at the age of 14 and I got drunk because I could not go downtown for my eighth grade graduation. And I remember my friend bringing me home, and I could hear my mom in the background saying, "Don't put her in the bed, put her on the floor." Wow. Everything was in my stomach came out on the floor. So my mom knew.
Yeah, I guess you did.
And I didn't like the feeling that it gave me the next day. And I said that I wasn't going to do that no more.
Mm,
And I did not drink no more until I was about 18.
mm.
And I was in high school. And and I drank when I was in high school, but I didn't know that I was pregnant because I couldn't drink anymore.
Oh,
It was just something, it was something about, the alcohol that and the perfume or anything. I was like, something is not right. So I was pregnant with my first
so
child.
what, you were like getting nauseous when you smell that, like alcohol or perfume?
Yes, I was getting nauseous when I smelled
No,
that.
you
Yes.
you didn't know why at first, why you were getting nauseous. You didn't know you were.
Right.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yes.
yikes.
And then and no sooner that my pregnancy was over, I had my child, and then everything was okay. I started back drinking, and I can smell the perfume, the cigarettes,. Everything was smelling good.
Oh.
And and then I remember being pregnant again, this time with twins. And it was just something about it, my body was like, oh, I didn't even have to go to the OB. I just knew it. I was pregnant because I couldn't drink and I couldn't smell this. I hated the smell of cigarettes and perfume, anything gave me
Really a
obnoxious.
good thing.
And
That's a good thing, though.
yeah,
Your body protected those children because, if you didn't have that reaction, you would have drank, and then that wouldn't have been good for the babies. Yeah,
right,
that's like God.
right. God was doing for me what I
Yeah,
couldn't do for myself then. And I
yeah,
didn't know.
yeah. So now we have some
Yeah. So
children.
any,
Yeah.
huh?
Go ahead. Go.
Yes. Yeah, so anyway, after I had all my six children, three girls and three boys, I got introduced to cocaine,
Hmm.
and and I started using cocaine.
Let me
And
ask you,
I
I want
was
to ask you something about that cocaine thing. You told me a story once about somebody saying to you, don't go in that room. Do you remember that story?
yes, my
Tell that
uncle.
story. Tell them the story. Because this was
Okay,
before you did cocaine, right? Yeah.
yes, I was just only drinking.
Yeah. So tell them that story about your uncle.
Uh, and I asked my uncle, I was like, where's everybody at? Why is everybody in the room? He said, don't go in that room. I
Mm,
said, why not? He said, because if you go in there, you might like it.
mm, mm,
So you know how curiosity kills a cat. So I didn't go in that room that night, you
mhm,
know. But the next time it was a party and everybody was in the room, my uncle wasn't around. So
mhm,
I'm like, let me go in this room.
mhm.
And I went in there and I liked it.
Because they were doing
I
cocaine.
liked it. But
Yep.
yeah, it was free base and cocaine and
That
I
was
liked
the
it.
introduction. Yikes. Okay. Ah, so now you're doing cocaine. You have six children. Are you working? With
Yeah.
your mom?
No,
Yeah.
I was on public assistance.
Well, that makes sense with all those kids, you know? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm,
But my mom knew that I was messing up the money that the government was sending me. And she told me that she was going to call DCFS on me and take my kids away.
Mhm.
So I stopped and I went into the program. And that was in 1996.
Mm.
And I stayed in the program there for like about 3 months. And I was doing good. What I didn't do, I did not work no steps. I did not get no sponsor. So I just really just jumped into church. And I didn't want to use no more, but I had got married, had got a house, I had a good job working for the state, It was just God was doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. And my husband, I met him in recovery. And he wound up relapsing. And he wound up taking everything that wasn't nailed down in the house.
Oh my
You
gosh.
know, he was just out of it.
Yeah.
And by me working and coming and don't know, I had so much stress on me that I came down with the shingles.
Oh, that's awful. But I had them once. It's terrible.
Yeah,
Mm.
that left me in the hospital for almost a week and a half because my whole side of my left side was the colors had changed to pink, and I didn't have no movement in my left arm.
Oh, scary. Yeah.
So they was giving me pain medication, and then I wind up being at the pain clinic. I
Mm.
was, and then I just liked the way it just made me feel.
Yeah.
And so the addict inside of me, it just woke me back up.
Of
I
course.
remember when they said, oh, they over there in the corner doing push-ups.
Mhm. Yeah.
But not me.
Mm-mm.
Well, it got me.
Yeah.
So after the doctor told me that I was abusing my medication and that they couldn't give me no medication no more, and I needed to get some help.
Yeah.
So I remember being at work and I remember hearing some of my coworkers saying, "Oh, Dilaudid and it's just like heroin." And
Oh, Dilaudid.
uh,
Dilaudid.
Dilaudid,
It's just like
yes.
heroin. Oh, yes, it
Yeah.
is. Right. That's what they give heroin addicts to.
Yeah, so that's where I went. I started from Elgin. I was catching the train to the city, going and getting heroin.
Oh boy.
And I was all hooked all over again, you know.
And then you
And
come home. Then would you go back home after you got your heroin? Would you go back home?
oh yeah, I
Kids.
did. I did. I would go there and I would get enough to last me until my next pay period, you know.
So you were,
And
so you were kind of like functioning still. You were getting the heroin, but you were keeping your job and you had
yes,
kids. And I can
yes,
relate to that with the alcohol. I was very functional, had jobs, took
yes,
kids. But go on, because it didn't
yes.
stay that good.
And then it got to the point that me and my husband we had got a divorce and and then I wind up moving on my own. I wind up getting my own place. We wind up selling the house. And he went his way and I went my way. But I was still using and I would still go to work. I was still, but I didn't I couldn't keep money because all my money was going to the drug man. And then also the guy that in Elgin, he owned a liquor store. So I would go there and get gallons of liquor, on credit. And when it was time for me to pay, I owed it him like by $500-$600.
Oh my.
Sometimes I would, yeah, sometimes I would get the alcohol and I would resell the alcohol just to get money to get the drugs,
How were your
you
kids
know.
doing while this was going on? How were they managing? Were they
The
still
owner of the store,
the children, your children?
how my children was, well, my daughter, my oldest daughter and my son and them, they had their own place.
They were grown up.
Yes, they was grown up. Yes, they had their own place. And when I was uh and then they lived with me, I had my own place too.
Mhm. But your children
I
were
had my
they weren't little when it got really bad. They were
no,
kind
they weren't little. No,
of, oh, well,
no.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
They was yeah, my son was around by 24 or something like
Oh,
that.
that's good.
He had graduated out of high school and everything. I,
So
you know,
you were in that midst of addiction and they knew it, of course.
yes, they did. They knew. They knew. And and also my nurse knew at the job because I was so skinny, but I was still functioning. And but I was losing all this weight. I wasn't looking at myself in the mirror. I was just, coming to work,
Mm,
being high.
yeah.
And
Mm,
and then my nurse said, Nellie, you're looking real bad. And I'm like, I knew it, I just didn't want to. But I think she said that so much out of concern for me than
sure.
my coworkers
Mm,
because they didn't say too much to me. They would talk, but then they would never tell me about me.
yeah.
But anyway, I had went to the job over the human resource, and they told me, and I told the lady, I said, I need help. I didn't really tell her that I was a heroin addict. I just said that, I need help. I'm abusing alcohol. So she told me, she said, well, what you need, I can put you on the leave, Nellie. You will not lose your job. I will put you on the leave. And
Mm.
that's what she did. She put me on the leave. And then I wind up being in Chicago with my sister. And and she wind up finding me treatment down here in Florida.
Now wait, and before we
And
get
she said that.
wait a minute. Before I get to Florida, while you were still up there in Chicago, how bad did it get? Did it get to a point where you were almost homeless, or am I not remembering the story? Was there a time where
I
you were,
was homeless. I was living with my sister.
you were living with your sister?
I
Okay.
was living with my sister.
But
Yeah.
when you would do heroin, were there like certain places you would go to or other people were doing it at the
No,
same time, or did you do it by yourself?
no, I was just only snorting it. I
Oh,
was snorting heroin, and
oh,
I
okay.
didn't need nobody to be with me to do that.
No, I to
You
me, it's
know.
sometimes hang out. People hang out doing drugs,
Oh,
but
that's okay. It's all
oh,
right. I didn't need nobody. I would
you
just go use your bathroom.
okay? All right, gotcha. All right, so now you come to Florida to a rehab here, right? That's the next part of your story.
Yes,
Okay, yeah.
yes. And I came down here to Del Rey to a treatment called transformation.
Mhm.
And I only did 30 days. I did a halfway house, but when I felt the heat down here and I couldn't breathe to smoke a cigarette, I was like, I'm going back to Illinois.
Oh, so you went
I
back.
didn't stay, I didn't stay.
So how long were you here before you went back in Florida?
I was here I was here for 2 months.
Okay,
I think I stayed in the halfway house about a month.
okay, and
And
then you,
then
yeah,
I came back. I came back to Illinois.
okay.
And then I went back to start using again.
And why do you
And
think that was? Why do you think you relapsed that time? What do you think? Was it because you didn't
I
do
was in,
anything, or
was in, no, it was just, I was in, well, I thought that the man that I was with, that really cared about me, loved me. So really, I was really running back to be with him.
yeah,
And that didn't work out. So I wound up being back at my sister's house.
yeah.
And and I called transformation again, and they wind up taking me back,
Oh, well, that's good. And what made
you
you do?
know,
What led you to go back and try again?
because a lot of people tell me, they said, Nellie, give yourself a year down here. Give yourself a year. See if
Florida. Mm-hmm.
and then go back. In
Yeah.
Florida, yeah.
Right. Because you don't, when you're in
And
Florida, you don't know where you don't know where to buy the drugs or whatever, like you do at home. At home, you know right where to go, right?
right,
And here, you'd be
I
surrounded
know exactly where to go.
people with recovery, and maybe, they keep you out of trouble for a while, right? So, or you come back. Now you come back
Yeah,
to the same place, the same rehab. Mhm.
yes,
Good. Okay.
same rehab.
And what happened
And
there?
this time, the people was really they was really nice, and they said, we're gonna put you in another and you're gonna go to a halfway house and you're gonna go to outpatient
Mhm.
that and you don't have to worry about transportation because we're gonna take you there back and forth.
Okay. Yeah, sounds
And I did that. But
good.
this time I said to myself, because I know my kids was, they was shaming me and, I knew they loved me, but they still didn't, they didn't like the way, they
Yeah.
wanted me to be better.
Addiction affects your
And
relationship, definitely. Yeah, I know.
yeah,
They love you, they hated the disease. So now you have a little bit more support down here and you're working on your recovery. And what happened next?
yeah. Well, I had stayed in they told me to get a sponsor because they would take us to meetings every day. And I was doing my outpatient,
Mhm.
and they told me to get a sponsor. And and I was like, because a lot of people with my associates and my friends, they was dying to the disease, and I didn't want to die. So that's when we had went to the Triangle Club,
Mhm.
and in
And
front of
that's
all them people, I stood
AA,
up.
it's an AA clubhouse, right? For people that don't know.
Yes,
Fire club's an AA clubhouse where they
yes,
hold meetings like all day practically. Okay. Yeah, I've been there.
yes.
So you went there.
I stood up. I was kind of, I, I was nervous, but I stood up and I said my name and I said that, and I told them, I said, I need help. I need help.
Mm, mm.
And that's when I met you. You came over there to me and you gave me a card and you held my hand and I held your hand. I wouldn't even let it go.
No,
I wouldn't let your hand go.
no.
And you helped me, Mimi.
Yes,
You helped me.
you know,
And
I was drawn to you because you did stand up and ask for help, and a lot of people don't do that, and you did. So definitely, I wanted to help you, and we started our journey on that, right? Yeah. And
yes,
you were in
we
another
started our.
house. They put you in another sober house, right? After rehab.
I was in the halfway house, and you would, yeah, that's the one. You
Yeah.
would come over and get me and take me to meetings,
Those type of steps.
and I was able to talk to you and tell you that I'm gonna leave here and go back to Illinois.
Well,
I said they not.
tell them how crazy that place was or where you were. I mean, it was
Oh,
out of
it was crazy because I was like, I was paying 400, and then the man said, "Well, Nellie, you're gonna have to pay 800 a month." I said, "I am not gonna pay no 800 a month to be in the house with 12 women and they stealing my stuff. If they would ask me, I would give it to them. But when they was, that I felt invaded, when they would take my
utopia.
things.
And they were breaking the rules. They weren't following the rules, like that not to have a man in the
No,
house.
they weren't. No, they weren't.
They weren't acting like so
Yes.
for sure. And we needed to find you a place to live other than there. That was for sure. I saw that right away. Had to get you out
Yeah,
of there.
yes, yes. And you did too.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, first you told me, you said, go to the store and buy a lock, in the cabinet where you can lock your stuff up so they won't be able to go freely through your things and ramble through your things. And that's what I did.
right.
And then you said you had found something in your little magazine and you had your husband Jerry to come over there and show me the place. And I was like, yes, I want it. I can
Yes.
afford this.
What
I can afford
now this
this.
is this is the miracles that happen in recovery, okay? Where I live is an over 55 development, beautiful little place, but reasonable. Some of them are very expensive. And I happen to know about a small one-bedroom condo that was available for rent. And I said, Nellie, I think they were asking less than that man was asking, right? You were paying 800 to him.
Yeah,
And this I
yes.
think was
That,
less. Yeah.
yeah,
And then the
yes, it was
landlord,
less.
now the landlord wanted to meet me. Did he meet me before he rented you the place or after? I think I talked to him on the phone first.
I think,
Friends.
right.
Yeah.
He just wanted that place rented,
Oh, he did.
but we had to go through the county.
Yeah, he called me on the phone. Yeah. And then you got this little, and you were in heaven. You were so happy to have your some
Yes,
foreigner. Yeah. I-
yes, I was so happy.
You are.
Yes,
You are.
yeah, and you
And
and
you,
Jerry,
yeah,
anywhere y'all took me because I didn't have transportation.
right.
So we would go to the store, we would go here, we would go there, we would go to church.
Yes.
And
In meetings, and we kept
and I
working.
love you and Jerry for that.
Well, honey,
Oh yeah, I did both
doing,
steps.
yeah, we were doing the service work. We were doing 12-step work. That's what we were doing. That's how you stay sober.
Yes, we
And,
were.
and we love you. And
Absolutely.
you became one of my very good friends. And every year that you got a chip, my heart just got bigger and bigger. And I met your children and your grandchildren, and they saw you sober. And that was wonderful to see, right? And then,
Yes,
really amazing, you started working as a healthcare worker, correct? That's what you started doing for work down here.
yes,
And you're very good at that
yes.
because you're a very loving, caring person. So you had a job, you were making money, you were sober, you had a little place that you could afford, you were making more friends. Life is good. And something amazing happened. You Now, did you need to move or did you want to move from your place?
Well, by me having a big family, my six children and plus my grandchildren, they
Mhm.
all came down in this one bedroom place. But we all laid on the floors. I had blankets and pillows for them.
God, I was there with the mattresses all over and everything. I went, oh my Lord. But I loved your one grandson and your one granddaughter. Like, I used to have so much fun when they were there. They were sweet. But it was too small when you have a big family. And so you're telling our listeners
Yes,
something very important, and that is that you need a support system. You need friends. You need a support group. You have all the things. And it also has to be not just work, but fun. So tell the listeners some of the fun things you've done in
yes.
recovery. Share some of those things.
Oh,
I'm thinking
the
about,
fun things,
yeah, how about the cruise when I
I
was,
went on trips.
yeah,
Yeah, I went on a cruise. I went to where Dr. Bill and Bill. I
Dr.
went to where his grandmom had they bar and stuff and how they had their little house and everything. We went there and had lunch. We even went out to the cemetery where he was buried at and his wife alongside of him, you know.
Yeah.
And I have I have been to a couple of cruises. I think about three or four of them.
And
It's just enjoying life.
you were not doing that in Chicago. You were not. You were trying to find out where the next
No,
dealer was. So what do you
yeah.
think, what do you think was the most important thing that kept you sober when you're thinking back? You
When
you
I turned my will over to God,
yes.
when
Yeah.
I started practicing doing these steps and start practicing in all my affairs, you
Yeah.
know, it wasn't Nellie will no more, it was God's will.
Yeah. And
I
you
needed a
know
power greater than
yeah.
myself.
Mhm. And the steps are in the order they are. I should tell you this. I tell all my girls that I sponsor. They're in a certain order. The first step is admitting that you're powerless. Okay. And then
Yes.
the second step is what? Step two. Tell them what step two is.
Step two is turning my will over to a power greater than myself.
Yeah. Step two and three. So then once you do that,
Yes.
the first three steps are so important. They really are.
Yes.
Because it was really hard for me to say I was powerless. I like to be in control. But
Hmm.
I was able to ask for help, and that was key. And then for you to stay sober, you were determined to go to AA meetings as much as you could, right?
Yes.
Yes, you made sure you got there. If I wasn't going, you got somebody else. We made friends in AA, which you did.
Yes.
And even with 2020, one of our friends started a meeting on Zoom, which has become very big. There's people all over the world now that go to that meeting. And my husband
That's my
goes,
home group. That's my home group.
isn't that amazing? Right? And
Yes.
I think it's just amazing. And what do you think, like today? I mean, I get triggered. Everybody can get triggered. Um, so when you get triggered, something ticks you off, right? Um, do you ever think about relapsing or taking a drink or maybe smoking some pot or
It's when my sister had died, but
mm,
you was my line of connection.
mm,
I said, I don't know what to do. I said, my sister dead and gone. And you said, Nellie, if you drink, she ain't gonna come back. And that was just like a light bulb flew in my head, turned on because you were so right. You were so right.
well, I'm when you have a sponsor, if you have a good sponsor, don't forget their thinking is rational, more rational than you, and they can see the big picture and they can take the emotion out of it. You were in your heart, broken heart, and so you needed someone to say, no, 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 think about this, hold back. And that's why you're still sober because you were able to take advice and do the right thing. So what would you say to someone who's struggling with addiction and wants to recover? What advice would you give them?
Working the 1, 2, and 3 steps. Because
Yeah,
that's what happened to me. I had to find a power greater than myself
yeah.
because humans mean well, but they
Mhm.
all have flaws,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And so I know that I can put my trust in this power greater than myself, that who I choose to call daddy.
Would you call
And
him daddy?
yes,
Cool.
my
That's cool.
daddy.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Our minister, he calls him, he'll say the big guy in the sky, or whatever you want to call him. But, the main thing is that uh, God is in us. We have it in us, the spirit. We have the spirit, we have the Christ in us. And people
Yeah,
think Christ, they think of Jesus. Well, the Christ really means what he represented. Okay. And what
yes,
did he represent? Love and kindness and helping other people.
yes.
And when you're an addict, you're not doing those things.
No, me.
It's all about you. And
Yeah,
and your outlook on life and the things that have changed. You bought a house.
yes,
So you went
yeah,
from having nothing to being a homeowner in
yes,
Florida, and you're here.
yes,
You stayed more than a year.
yes.
So, what's your outlook on life today? Like, do you have any things that you plan on doing, or, you know, some things that,
You, what I do now, I still take care of the ones that people that just can't take care of themselves. So, I always, love to help, in being a CNA or, you know, or just being taking care of the elderly.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I love that. I love
You're
it.
in the right place because they call
Huh?
you're in the right place because they call Florida God's waiting room.
Yes,
I
yes,
mean, there are a lot of elderly people here, but Nellie, I'm telling you, you are one of my most wonderful success stories. Okay. And you've met other people that I sponsor, and not
yes,
everybody makes it. And you have met some women that I sponsored that did not make it. So it really doesn't have anything to do with me and if I'm a good sponsor or not. It has to do with the person wanting it. They have to want it. And I will mention our one friend, Ellen, who had moved away. She was an atheist. Now we're talking about turning your will over to God. She was an atheist, and she said to me, how am I going to do this? I'm an atheist. And I said, I'll tell you what you're going to do. Do you believe there's something greater than yourself? And she said, well, of course. I said, okay. You don't have to call it God. It can be the universe. Look at the sky and the clouds and the birds and the nature and all those wonders in the world. And that is the power greater than yourself. And you know what? She got it. And
yes,
she's sober 11 years. So everybody listen, I guess that's our message to you is if you have the inclination that you want to stop the craziness and you want to get sober, it doesn't matter about religion, race, anything. It matters that you want it and that you ask for help, right?
yes.
That you ask for help. Well, Nellie, I'm so glad we were able to talk today, and
Me too.
we're going to have lunch soon and catch up even more. But I hope people listening got something out of it. I know I enjoyed it so much, and you said some things that I even forgot that I told you. I'm glad I gave you some good advice.
Yes, yes, you did. You
Good.
gave me a lot of advice, good advice.
Yeah, and you
Mm.
took it though. You didn't fight me on many anything.
No,
I
no,
don't think so. So I love you. Thank you for coming. Um, do you have anything else you want to say before we sign off?
I love you too. And
Okay. Yeah. One day at a
thank
time.
God for you and Jerry.
And you just keep doing what you're doing, girl. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the show. Bye bye.